decided, okay, we need our own separate screens. Hello, Kun Sabat-san.
Good morning,
Sabat-san.
Kun Sarah,
Good morning.
Pan and
สวัสดี
everyone.
ค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีคุณฮังค่ะ
everyone. Good morning, everyone.
อ๋อ สวัสดีคุณฮาค่ะ
สุขใจอาจารย์
Hello, Achan. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Kim Hong.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Kim Hong. Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, good morning, Anne.
Good morning.
Let's see if Ajahn is here now, because it's just gone past. Ajahn, are you here?
สวัสดีค่ะ everyone.
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะปีใหม่ค่ะ
So I think we can start, and others, one or two people have just sent me a note to say they're running a bit late, so we can start and see how we go. Sorry, I'm just texting someone at the same time. And does anyone have anything they would like to bring up?
You have anything?
Supatson, did you have any further comments after the discussion on Saturday? Any further reflections?
Well, regarding the trying to figure out the reality which arising, and according to Kun Sarah and Kun Jonathan's suggestions, there's understanding a little bit about the trying, that it is attachment which is accumulation, even though and the most important point I got is Kun Jonathan asked me about something, wholesome citta, which arise naturally, and I already told him that it is generosity which occasionally arise, comparing to understanding, in other reality, which is rarely happened. The term naturally is, sorry to use the phrase, ring the bell. In understanding has developed, even though it's slightly, but getting to know a lot about sati. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Patson. I think we need to appreciate that there must have been some level of understanding developed already. We're not starting from a zero base. And it's a matter of the conditions for that previously accumulated understanding to re-arise. And that understanding takes as its object a conditioned Dhamma. A conditioned Dhamma which appears through that understanding. So if we are trying to, for example, be aware of visible object because we appreciate that it currently there is no awareness and understanding of eye consciousness and visible object as separate realities. If one is trying to be aware of a particular conditioned reality, that is not a case of that reality appearing to understanding by conditions. And that's why it's not the right path. The right path is the consideration of the Buddha's explanation of reality as a condition for the re-arising of that understanding that has previously been accumulated. And there's no way of knowing when that will happen and what will be the object of the awareness and understanding. So it's a different kind of thing, and it's, as you say, a natural occurrence rather than something that we have created to happen. We have made to happen.
Right.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
glad you.
Is naturally out of the blue, so to speak, just by conditions. Generosity arises naturally when there are conditions for it. Hearing,
Exactly.
anger, kindness, any reality arises naturally by conditions, unexpectedly. So the more one appreciates this, the less inclination there is to try to have a particular reality arise, because it's impossible to make any reality arise. Whatever arises is by conditions. Like now, however much one might try to hear a particular sound, if there are no conditions to hear that sound, it's not heard. So the I trying just hinders the understanding of Dhammas arising unexpectedly and naturally. So nothing to do, nowhere special to go, because the truth is now, the seeing is now, the hearing is now, calmness is now or not now, whether there's understanding or not now, never mind, because it's by conditions. Useless to try to make it arise, because that hinders the path. Perhaps we'll see if Ajahn would like to add anything further to this topic, or anyone else.
Is there any moment today? No, I. See, it's I all the time.
Right.
But the understanding of the truth will gradually letting go, the clinging to that object as something or I. That's why no hurry at all to try to have the understanding of such and such, but begin to understand what is there in life, anytime, any moment, no understanding of the truth. Beginning to see the differences between the ignorance and the understanding of what? Of what is there right now. See, consider of what is there right now, not known as it is. And it's there for how long? More than just 100,000 years and years ago. So this is the moment of beginning to have the light of understanding of what is not understood and what can be understood right now. Only that which now appears, is it right? And how much understanding of that which is now appearing. See how much, no thought about it before, no attention at all to its characteristic as just it is, but take everything for something permanent. That's why begin to consider the first round of the Four Noble Truths. It's so true, but it does not appear as it is yet, because no understanding even is now appearing as it is, but no understanding. So ignorance covers up the truth of whatever is now appearing. That's why what appears as something, like the clock and the bed and the curtain and the car and the purse, everything, all are something all the time. But in truth, just one moment of seeing now, It's not anyone. It is conditioned to arise and fall away. Who knows the truth? But learn to understand what is life. It's only a moment of different realities, conditioned to arise, to appear, and then gone. Even we heard a lot of truth of it, but even right now, it arises and then gone. Beginning to have firm confidence of life, not permanent at all. Each moment is different by conditions, and learn to understand the main characteristic that without the reality which arises and experiences the object, there cannot be anything appearing at all. But it's not I at all. It's just a reality which arises and experiences an object, that's all. Each moment. Is it firm enough now? Not yet. Listen again, again. It's not I who am trying at all. All Adamas, no matter intention, disliking, or considering, all Adamas, until all Adamas, any moment, when understanding the truth, little by little, even from hearing and considering, it begins to understand the truth. No one there at all. No one there at all. No thing at all. Only different kinds of realities appearing by conditions and then gone. Is it firm enough to understand more, a little more of what is there by the teachings of the enlightened one? Otherwise, who know what condition just a moment, only one moment of seeing right now? The citta before seeing, the reality which arises after seeing, cannot see, but it can experience the same object by conditions, all by conditions. That's why I learn a little more of conditions, of whatever is there. Gradually, little by little, not I'm trying to understand, or not I'm trying to do anything, or different realities performing the functions in a moment and then gone. Little by little, from life to life, it conditioned firm confidence of the truth that the most precious moment in life is understanding the truth of life or what is there as it is. No matter what we are talking about, we can talk about the teaching of the Buddha about it in order to have a little more understanding of the truth right now. Seeing is there by conditions, thinking about that by conditions, or a conditioned moment, gone, never to arise again. Ariya Dhamma, it shouldn't be satisfactory at all, because it's gone forever, never to arise again. So what is not known is whatever is there in life from moment to moment, right now. That's why I learn to understand a little more of what is there as it is, different ones by conditions. So learn to understand little by little. Is there any intention in life today?
Yeah. Yes, there is intention to understand the reality that arising.
There can be the understanding of intention as I am, right? Attending or have in such intention to what is there. See, by deeds and speech. But what about even no deeds and speech at all? Who knows? There is also the reality which intends arising with each chitta, performing the coordinating. The realities arising together to perform their functions. See, just in a moment. So learn to understand what are that in a moment, from moment to moment, to understand more. And that's the way to let go of the understanding of wrong understanding, taking it for something years and years ago, to understand the truth until it can be directly realized as it is. So very clearly, because that is the truth, the ultimate truth of life, of each moment, of each reality. So when there are time to discuss, to understand, to read, to consider, it's the best moment in life. Having more understanding of the truth.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, understanding gradually developed, ท่านอาจารย์
Not you or anyone. It's the way of Dhamma.
Well, actually, it's the way of Dhamma, but it's not that level yet. But learning slowly that it's not me, it's only some kind of reality which is arising. But it's thinking, ท่านอาจารย์, is not is not real reality. Very often I think about Dhamma. Thinking is not real. I know that. And it's my who's thinking.
Is thinking not real?
Thinking is real, but it's my thinking.
I think there are different kinds of thinking. There can be deliberate thinking, saying one can decide to specifically consider some aspect of the teaching, probably with a view to understanding it better. But there can also be thinking that occurs naturally. That word again, naturally.
That's the word again.
Because of the interest in the Dhamma and because of the opportunity to discuss it with other people, that means that later there will be thinking about that discussion or certain aspects, something that one heard a little differently than previously. A thinking that is not a deliberate, is not something that we choose to do. It just happens as one is going about one's daily life. So that kind of reflection can also be a condition for some awareness and understanding. Who knows? Who knows when or what or how much? But you said earlier that understanding gradually develops. Well, how do wholesome qualities develop? They not just understanding, but even generosity or loving kindness, metta. They develop by arising. They don't develop by being practiced.
Okay.
Right? Because that's not the actual wholesome quality. So they develop by arising. But they develop by arising when there is some recognition that they are arising and they are appreciated as being of value. Otherwise, they may arise and just accumulate unknown to us.
Mm.
So this is the important thing, that the understanding can develop unknowingly over time, just by virtue of the exposure to the Dhamma being explained in a certain way, and one's interest in that. And that's why we don't have to make a particular effort to think, to consider, to have understanding.
Excuse me, Kun Jonathan. You say the word Dhamma developed unknowingly. What do you mean by this? Do you mean naturally? Is it the term? I mean,
it does include being natural, but I'm referring to the fact that it can be so weak that it's not really apparent at the time.
I see. Okay.
Just like there can be other wholesome qualities from time to time that arise, but there is no appreciation that the jitta is wholesome at those moments.
You mean by weak, right? Can they? You simple
Weak.
word. Weak.
Weak.
Yeah.
Not strong. Not strong.
Yeah, not strong.
Yeah,
right?
so very slight and not
Okay,
noticeable.
that's not noticeable. I see.
Jonathan, can I come in and say something very
Sure.
briefly? I think what you've just said really points to anatta. There's absolutely no me or anybody in there. These events happen. And I appreciate what you've said, John. It's really good. Thank you.
There's no need for any intervention by us.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. Thank you.
And
Okay, sorry.
to pass on, just as the attachment now, like even at this very moment after seeing and hearing, is so slight, it's not known, it's not noticed at all. So it's the same with the moments of kusala, when it's just slight understanding or slight kindness. It's not noticed because it's so weak, but it accumulates, just like the attachment now accumulates. And when it's strong enough, then, for example, when there's a delicious meal in front of one, then it's more obvious that there is attachment. But the slight attachment is there, unknown, arising all the time.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Tom, I heard at the start, just when I asked Supatson if she wished to continue the topic from Saturday, I just heard you asking Bev if she'd like to bring up anything. Did you or she have anything you wish to bring up? Maybe he's not there now.
No, we are. No, nothing comes to mind. But
No, you're good.
Ella's notes and they find it useful.
we've been reading Alan Weller's note that he did recently, which we found useful. On Nina's From Nina's notebooks. Yeah.
Was it the AI generated summary that you posted?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but it's so hard to know these days.
Yeah, I think it was the notes. If it's like a summary, then it's AI generated that he is posting. Yes, but they can be very good, can't they? Very good indeed.
I really wish there was requirement that anything AI generated gets a trademark, so you know.
Well, usually at the top of, because he's been putting a lot of these AI generated notes, and usually at the top he mentions it and says there may be mistakes because this is what it is. So he does usually put a note at the top, which is useful.
No,
yeah, I agree.
It's true. But there's way too much that is AI generated that is not labeled as such, which is
I know,
concerning.
and for college students, it's all AI generated and not mentioned, I'm sure. And anyone else have anything they'd like to bring up? Sylvia, anything you'd like to comment on or bring up today? Or Anne looks like she's about to speak. Are you about to speak, Anne?
No.
Okay, I just saw
No,
your
I'm not, Sarah.
microphone.
Sorry, no, I'm
No.
not. I didn't think you could see.
I was talking about the why study Abhidhamma. Is that the one? Sarah? Why study
Yes, I think what happened was he asked a question to AI, why study Abhidhamma, and had put in the book, and this was the answer AI came back with. Yes, so it was all AI generated.
I thought it came from Nina's Abhidharma.
It did.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an AI generated summary of what Nina wrote on that
Nina
topic.
wrote. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Did you feel it was accurate? It looked pretty good to me.
I thought it was good. I mean, sometimes there are one or two small points and one or two things I would quibble with, but generally I think they're very good. Like one of the summaries said something about there must be serious study, and I quibbled about the word serious, but these are minor points. They're very good summaries, so one can see how it's very useful in many ways.
Sarah, can I come in here?
Yes, Sylvia, please.
I must say I agree. I found Alan's YouTube channel just by following the emails on the DSG group, and I really kind of enjoyed the explanations are quite concise and clear, very clear. So yes, I found those good. And I've been following also just talking about social media. So the YouTube videos that he's done, as well as our group discussions, I've found that if I listen and read the transcript at the same time, it kind of has, for me, a double, almost more impact, more absorbing, because one can stop it when there's something where, oh, I didn't quite catch that, and then you can reread it and think about it and then get on board again with the meaning straight away back into the video. The only thing is with the transcription, they, I think it's AI generated, and the YouTube program is not that great. So it sometimes misses out on words or spells the words or says the word incorrectly, but it still helps you a great deal when you're following along. So yeah, I just wanted to say that's what I've been doing, and I'm finding it very helpful.
And it's good, as Alan does, to find new ways of sharing the Dhamma. So whatever helps to encourage anyone to listen and consider and discuss is useful, because different approaches. Some people like to discuss. Some, like me, I just like to listen, not have any video. Some like, no, everyone has different interests and ways of study. So it's good to look at different opportunities.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sylvia. Anyone else have anything any topic they'd like to bring up? Or Azita, go ahead.
I have a question. Did John see that? And what did she think?
I don't think she has seen it. I know before, when we showed her one, she said, well, when it's AI, the thing is, there can be errors. So one has to read and consider carefully, and not assume it's right. But of course, the more the data fed in is correct, then the more accurate they are. And it's the same even when we speak, there are errors too. So
Exactly.
in the material that's fed in, the book that's fed in, there are errors. So this is yes, we can discuss it further with her when we see her. Asita, go ahead.
Yes, well, speaking of errors, and I haven't got any of the copy of what I wrote regarding the paramis and how it was the thing on Panya, I think it was, that concentration or the Four Noble Truths were the proximate cause. And I made a query about it. So there's several replies have come back, one from you too, Sarah, and it was you didn't disagree with what had been written. So can you explain to me a bit more about how you saw? I don't know if you remember what I wrote in.
Yes, just for other people. So Zita's talking about the paramis. These are the perfections or the qualities that have to be developed with understanding. And in the text, when it was talking about Panya Parami, the perfection of understanding, which is necessary for the development of all the other paramis, it mentioned that the proximate condition, the proximate cause for Panya, right understanding of the path, is concentration, right concentration, or the Four Noble Truths. And Azita wondered why it said or. And when I read it, I didn't find a problem because there are many different proximate conditions. It means like predominant conditions in that particular context. So right understanding cannot develop without right concentration. And as I think we discussed last week, either in this session or one of the Sunday ones, when the right understanding becomes stronger and stronger, firmer and firmer, and the concentration, the right concentration of the path also becomes stronger. So when it is at the level of vipassana, clear understanding, then the samadhi, the concentration, is strong and repeatedly focuses on particular realities. It's upachara samadhi at that point, and the understanding and concentration are said to be yoked together, inseparable. So the concentration conditions the understanding conditions the concentration. All the path factors condition each other. And in addition, it is the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. So the truth of life, that whatever arises and falls away is dukkha. Without this truth, there would be no understanding, nothing to understand. So this is why the Four Noble Truths also given as condition for understanding, because the seeing now, which arises and falls away, and which is dukkha, it is the object of understanding. So it's by object condition. It is proximate condition for the understanding at this very moment. But perhaps Ajahn would like to add more on this topic because it's quite a deep topic.
Can we talk about just one word at a time? Because one word represents one reality. Because if we use the term or the word, it seems like there is enough understanding. But in truth, just the number and the name. So shall we talk about just one reality or one word?
Yes, Ajahn, that's good.
Back to what, please?
Which word would you like to discuss, Azita?
I cannot hear you, please.
I'm muted. The samadhi of the Eightfold Path.
Okay.
That's a lot of words, isn't it?
Samadhi, ekaggata cetasika, is one pointedness. No matter when and no matter what object is it, right?
Yes, Ajahn.
So it's different by the cetasikas which arise with it. When it's wrong understanding, it's wrong samadhi, right? Just concentrate on, focus on the object. And when it's right concentration or right samadhi, it arises with right understanding to the right object, which is the reality, the ultimate reality, to be known as it cannot be taken from anyone or anything at all. So samadhi cannot be right understanding and it cannot be citta. Learn to understand the difference between realities, and this is the way to let go, little by little, of what is there in life. Even we use the word samadhi. So is there samadhi now? See, from the very beginning, there must be a reality which is not the chief of experiencing the object appearing now, but it concentrates on that object, focus on it, and that is the function of samadhi. So how clear and how strong it is, depending on the cetasikas which arises with it. So now the ekaggata cetasika arises with seeing, just being only vipaka, conditioned by kamma to arise together with the seeing, to experience such object, conditioned by kamma, to be the seeing, experiences pleasant or unpleasant object, see. So no one can change the characteristic of samadhi or ekaggata cetasika at all. But since it's just in a moment, the characteristic of samadhi does not appear. But when there is concentration on one object more than usual, the characteristic of it appears, but no thought about the truth that it's not I, or it's not anyone at all. Just in a day, I'm concentrating on something, that's all. But it is the ekaggata. So as there is the understanding of the nature of concentration, no doubt about whether it's wrong concentration or right and concentration, right ekaggata arises with samadhi stage by stage. As panya is stronger, the samadhi is stronger as well. The other jatasikas, the same level of panya, experience the object by its function, its characteristic, its quality. But samadhi has to be samadhi. It cannot be right understanding. It cannot be attention, manasikara. Each reality has its own characteristic, its own function, different by the cetasikas which arise with it. That's all. Is it there now? See what level?
You mean the samadhi?
The ekaggata cetasika.
It's there. It's here now.
Yeah.
It's with every moment that jitta arises and falls.
Does it appear?
Well, not to me.
Usually in a day, it's there each moment, but it does not appear as long as it's not strong enough.
So maybe there is some now because I'm concentrating on listening to you, Ajahn, but
Yeah. Mhm. And when there is right understanding of the path, it's there too.
It can be right or wrong, like when a burglar robs a bank, strong concentration, and it may be very obvious, very apparent, but strong akusala. So right or wrong, kusala or akusala samadhi. But here in the context that you were discussing, the development of paramis, of course it's right concentration that is being referred to as proximate condition for understanding.
Yes. And it's interesting because I think it's only recently that we've talked a lot about ekagata, and I've never really given it much thought before, but it's there with every jitta that arises, and I just find it I find it interesting that there's, well, maybe I'm just getting to know it a bit better intellectually because there's more discussion about it. So, but again, like I said to Jonathan, it also points to anatta. That there's all these jitta seekers that we have no idea about, no control over whatsoever. And I like Achan's comment that it's arisen already. That it's arisen already, and so when I feel happy about something or distressed about something, don't want it, it's arisen already. So there's nothing can be done. So I like that little comment also.
It's arisen already and it's gone already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're really good, really fine pointers to what's really going on.
And it is good to bring up the topic of concentration and samadhi because there is a lot of misunderstanding, like a lot of people following practices in order to develop more concentration. But what kind of concentration is? People assume it's wholesome, but if it's with attachment, focusing on an object, it can be very strong concentration. There can be all sorts of strange or unusual experiences because of the strong concentration, but it's all wrong path concentration. It's all akusala because of being accompanying wrong understanding from the very outset. And people assume the samadhi, the strong concentration, is always wholesome. But no, usually the strong concentration that we're familiar with in a day, such as when studying for an exam or focusing on the cooking, it's all akusala concentration.
And in fact, in these days, to be focused on something is really thought of as a very wonderful thing to do, to be focused on your job, or students being focused on their studies. So it's thought of as a quite a thing to have. So when concentration, if people sit and concentrate, it's thought of as a really good thing. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. It's good discussion to have.
Yeah, Zita and Sarah, thanks for bringing up that point again. Just would like to add that it can potentially, when we talk about concentration being the proximate cause, as it says in the Visuddhimagga quite clearly, and it doesn't have that orbit there, why I think, and I don't dispute, Sarah, your interpretation there of the orbit, but it can sound, and I know it's not, but it can sound like something different. That's what I feel, the only thing I feel a little bit awkward about, because it says concentration or the Four Noble Truths. when in actual fact, excuse me, they're the same thing. That's all
Well,
the point.
Yes, I'd say they're not the same thing, but they're both proximate conditions for understanding, because the Four Noble Truths is more than concentration, and concentration is just referring to ekagata, cetasika, or samadhi in this context.
Well,
so sometimes many proximate conditions are given.
Well, I don't quite see it like that, because ekagata, which relates to concentration in this context, and it was relating to the path. So in many ways, it is the same, because ekagata or samadhi, right samadhi, when it is of the Eightfold Path, will be conjoined with the understanding of the Eightfold Path. So you can say or the Eightfold Path, but in this context, when it states in the Dhimma that concentration is the proximate cause, and as you elaborated on earlier on, the more understanding develops, the more concentration will become stronger in that respect. So I don't see them as different, because they relate to the same thing. They relate to development, properly understood.
I'd like to read out that thing from its description of the aggregates. It's in the Visuddhimagga, chapter 14, number 7. It's what are the characteristic, function, manifestation, and proximate cause? And I think it's of understanding has the characteristic of penetrating the individual essence of states. Its function is to abolish the darkness of delusion, which conceals the individual essence of states. It is manifested as non-delusion. Because of the words, one who is concentrated knows and sees correctly, its proximate cause is concentration. So when I read that, which you mentioned in one of your posts, Sundra, I found that helped me a lot. So
yeah, and that's inclusive, and I think Sarah pointed this out earlier on, that is conducive to the development of the Eightfold Path. So I just think my only concern, it's not a major concern, I certainly won't lose any sleep over it, is that by saying concentration, or it sounds like they're both different, but in actual fact are the same thing. Anyway, yeah, I think that's probably enough said in that respect, but perhaps if others want to make comment,
I think we can just say, for example, concentration is a proximate condition, or we could say vitakka is a proximate condition, or we can say jhana is said to be a condition at the moment of when jhana citta is the object of the cittas just before enlightenment. It's a proximate condition, or the jhana factors are given as proximate condition, or visible object that is understood now as a proximate condition. So it doesn't mean that because concentration is the proximate condition that vitakka isn't, but any of them can be said to be the proximate condition, a cause for understanding to arise. So concentration or the Four Noble Truths, it doesn't mean only one and not the other, but either can be said to be proximate condition, or the object, or the vitakka. So
and actually
in different contexts, different dhammas are given as proximate condition. Yes.
And actually in Nina's book on Panya, it does, I can't remember, I haven't got the book with me. I had about a dozen books opened yesterday afternoon. But it does make it a little bit clear that the Four Noble Truths is what is to be known. And that really was brought up clearly in Nina's book on the perfection. So haven't got
This is what has to be known.
Yeah,
this is
has
why
to
it's
be known.
proximate condition,
Yeah.
and the concentration has to develop with the understanding.
Yeah,
The right effort has to be developed. All the parameters have to develop. So in a sense, they are all proximate conditions, all support for understanding. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Julie, you were making one or two comments in the notes. Anything you would like to bring up or elaborate on? Always good to hear. Sorry, we can't hear you yet, Julie. You need to unmute.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. I'm listening and I'm looking up books. I think I'm a bit of a librarian, hence I've still got all those old books, but I'm learning and yes, lots to learn, but really enjoying listening. Thank you. Yes, what can I say?
I can see your library in the background, and like I said, yes, is that the conditions that you have there? And
I'd say so, yes.
Yes, and like I said earlier, different accumulations, different habits. Some like to read more, some like to listen more, some like to have a video playing, some like to write more. Different habits, different accumulations. But what's important is the understanding of the truth, no matter how and when and where.
And by the way, Sarah, Gillian and I are going to have a get together in May. So
oh, good.
Good. Yeah. I'll tell you all about it in an email.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, as I mentioned in a message, it was about soon after Buddhism and Daily Life was printed in the late 70s that I stayed with Gilly in Brisbane in her little library. And you were making the comment on in the note that, yes, what is anything that is AI generated has to be carefully checked because it's not reliable. And as Tom wrote, what we say and think is not reliable. And yes.
I think you've got into a level of detail which I'm not there, but I'm listening and I mean, you keep on learning, don't you? Yes.
And you asked about, for example, when one feels anxious, for example, if one hears someone talking about AI or relying on it, and one feels anxious, and straight away one thinks of the problem as being the AI or the computer system. But actually the problem at that moment is the clinging and the anxiety, and it's I again. So it always, what we study, what we read about, always comes back to now, the citta now, the way of thinking now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add really that I really appreciated Kunsapat's comments this morning and her questions, because I think they're so sincere and I think they're always so very, very relevant. And I think just perhaps what I would add to it myself is that the Dhamma is so, so very different to anything else that we've ever come across. And it's so easily we can be so easily seduced into think it's something that I do. And we forget when we think it's something that we do or I do, that directly contradicts the nature of Dhamma. So I think the point that Jonathan brought up and that Azita also supported is that we need to be continually, the word I'm looking for, aware or strongly understanding that it's not you that develops the Eightfold Path. It's by careful consideration, which can seem like you. It can seem like you, but it's not. So I say, I really appreciate your questions and your sincerity in trying to pursue what is true. And that's something that Tanajan is always indicating to all of us. What is the truth of the present moment? Is there a self? And of course, the latter aspect of that question is that there is not a self. So we must listen and carefully consider so that the true Dhamma can be better understood. Thank you.
Hello, Anne. Have you got a question? You've got your mic on.
Yes, I do actually. Thank you, Azita. I was waiting for the right time. The discussion, I believe it was either this past Saturday or last week. We started talking briefly about sati, awareness, and I know we don't talk about it that much because it is so closely related with panya. But as I recall, when we think about satipatthana, satipatthana, we're looking at it loosely translated would be reaching the particular. So it seems to me it has something to do with zeroing in on something particular, like what is arising now. But when we were discussing it in the recording I listened to, we're talking about it in connection with vipassana. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but there is samasati. Is that right? Yes. Okay. I guess that's what I'd like to talk about then, to hear about, have some discussion.
Just a quick comment, Anne. The reaching the particular is the literal translation of patipatti,
Okay.
not satipatthana.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Sure about that, but I did remember reaching the particular.
So does your question relate to sati or patipatti? Patipat.
Start with sati.
Because patipatti is referring to understanding, the direct understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Reaching the particular.
And, yeah. And when we're talking about sati as the cetasika arises with all kinds of kusala, but when it arises with panya of the path, then it is aware of the characteristic that appears, not just the guarding from unwholesomeness, which any sati has the function of.
Right.
And when it's referring to satipatthana, there are actually three meanings of satipatthana. It can refer to the cetasika sati, which is directly aware of the object that the understanding, the patipatti understanding, directly understands. So if the sati that is aware of visible object or sound or whatever appears, it can also refer to the object of understanding, the object of awareness. And the third meaning is it can refer to the path that has been followed by the Aryan disciples. So when we're talking about sati, we're talking about the cetasika, and now talking about satipatthana, still talking about the cetasika, but just to mention there are these other meanings. It is aware of the reality. So it has to develop, just like understanding develops intellectual awareness, direct awareness of the path, and the awareness that arises at moments of realization. So it develops with understanding, but has different function, different characteristic. I'm sure Jan will be very happy to discuss this topic further. Jan?
Great.
Yes. Shall we talk about sati?
Yes, please.
Satipatthana? Because there are many levels of sati, of any kind of Dhamma. And any moment of akusla cannot arise without sati at all. Because sati is the reality which is aware of wholesome moment, wholesome reality, wholesome deeds. That's why no matter giving away things, helping the others, or any kind at moment of being friendly, sati is there. So sati arises with all kinds of wholesome moments. But without understanding, there can never be the term satipatthana at all. It's just sati. Even the development of tranquility, samatha pavana, there must be sati as well, because sati is at any moment of wholesome deeds or speech. But it's not satipatthana. So understand what is meant by satipatthana. Otherwise, it cannot be satipatthana, the understanding of sati of that level, which has to be understanding the truth at level of intellectual understanding of what is there right now. For example, seeing is there right now. Is there any understanding of the nature of seeing as a reality? No one at all. No thing at all. Only that which is conditioned to arise to see. See, just a moment, only one moment of seeing. But it's not known at all. Any time of seeing, no understanding, no satipatthana at all. But at moment of having more confidence that the reality which sees now is not known yet as it is. Just talk about it. Remember the word. It's the reality which arises and experiences the object. How much understanding? If it's just said repeatedly without any understanding, it doesn't have any meaning at all. No understanding of sati. But when there is understanding of no understanding of seeing, but hearing about it and understanding the truth that it's not known yet, as it heard, as it understood, because it arises and falls away in split seconds. But as long as it's there as nimitta, it can be attended gradually, little by little, to understand the quality of a reality which can experience what is there seen. This is the beginning of sati. Otherwise, there will never be satipatthana at all. Because it's not just understanding of dana or sila only, but it understands the path, the way to realize the truth. Not just the word it says, not just the word it experiences the object, but the characteristic of that reality, which cannot be anything or anyone, anatta, because it's there so very short, just sees and then gone. See, so there are many levels of understanding, not just the word.
Yes.
Even samadhi, see, it's not just the word. It has to be understanding of what is heard and have to be moment of understanding what is there now in daily life, little by little, until sati approach or aware of a particular object, only one. See? So the word particular object is the moment when sati is aware of an object, not by choosing, intending, or anything at all, by conditions unknown. What would be? the object of Satipatthana until time comes, conditions are ready, it arises instantly, show up the anothernness of whatever is there, a little more of what we have heard in life, that it is time to just begin to understand what is there as a reality, not just the word to be understood. So, Satipatthana can not arise without any understanding of what is the point. And without panya, sati cannot be satipatthana. And without panya, which understands the nature of reality as not self, satipatthana cannot arise, no condition for it to arise to experience a particular object by conditions. So in daily life, how much right understanding, because what Buddha taught is about to understand what is there so close right here. If it's not yet that moment, it's not particular object for sati to be aware of at all. Just one characteristic at a time, and not without understanding. But the understanding, the reality which experiences the object, is different from that which is hard, which cannot experience the object. So whatever is so natural, daily life, is the object of Satipatthana. And
Yeah.
now, when it's not Satipatthana yet, what about in a day? Is there any time there is concentration just for the water in just a very narrow tube? See, there can be moment of understanding the concentration. Ekakata cetasika, arising and falling away long enough to be known. That is different moment from moment just pick it up and then eat and then swallow and so on. So there has to be right understanding of what is there in daily life as Dhamma. Otherwise, no one can reach Dhamma. No one can have the particular Dhamma to be known.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Is
So
there any more to talk about?
that's what I'm thinking about. Yes. So you mentioned sati is what's the expression? Remembers kusala. It's
That at moment when it's there, it's
yes.
just conditioned kusala.
Okay. It conditions. Okay.
Or he say it's not forgetful of kusala.
Okay. Yes, that's what I'd heard of before. Yeah. Not forgetful of kusala. And that relates to what Ajahn has been saying. I guess I'm still clear as to what awareness actually is.
Well, at the moment it arises, the citta is already kusala, of course.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not as though it brings on, it arises and precedes the arising of kusala.
No.
So this is what's so difficult to comprehend about the Dhamma and the way things condition each other.
Yes.
That at a moment of kusala citta, all the kusala mental factors that are going to arise together. And there's no preceding citta, which is the preparation for the kusala or the making the way for the kusala. It just kusala is conditioned to arise.
Right. I've never thought of anything preceding, but yes, emphasizing it is good. So they rise together.
Yes.
They all
So the citta and and the citta that contacts at that time, pasa, and the citta that, the cetasika that contacts, and the cetasika that concentrates on the object, and the cetasika that is it pays attention to the object, manasikara. And the cetasika that makes effort for kusala. They're all co-arising at exactly the same moment by conditions.
It's like in the previous discussion that Azita brought up about concentration as the proximate condition for understanding. So then people think they need to concentrate and focus on an object, and then the concentration will bring understanding. And they quote this often, but they arise together, they develop together, they condition each other at the moment of arising. It's not a matter of having concentration and then having understanding. And the same with sati. It's not a matter of being aware and then understanding. They develop together. Or sanya, like tira sanya is given as a condition for sati. So it's firm remembrance of what is wholesome and what is the object. But at that moment of sati, there is firm remembrance of kusala, firm remembrance of what is to be understood.
Good to be reminded of that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this has helped. I won't hesitate to ask anything again if I think of it.
No self, and it takes eons and eons, and I hate to remind you.
Oh, I do.
Sorry.
Of course it does. Well, it's interesting because I often feel like, okay, we go over ground that we've heard so many times before, and yet it's always new.
Exactly.
New.
Yeah, same for me. Yeah.
The way we take it.
Yeah. And again, that's why Ajahn says, begin again, begin again.
Yeah, for sure.
It is beginning again each time.
Every moment.
I think the question you're actually asking, Anne, and you spoke to it briefly a minute ago, was what actually is the characteristic of sati when it arises. So if it's to be the object of understanding, by what characteristic is it known? We can conceive of the panya being the object of understanding, but the sati is more difficult to appreciate, I think. I know Ajahn has spoken about this topic before, and maybe she would like to add some words on that question.
That would be good. Panya as the object of understanding. Yes, that would be.
Well, yes, and also Ajahn has often mentioned the importance of knowing the moment with sati as compared to the moments without sati. So if it's not by the panya, the co-arising panya, that those moments are known, then how does the moment with sati appear? What is the characteristic that is apparent at that time?
I don't know the answer.
That's the question, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, Ajahn, if you had something to add, that would be very good.
Is the moment of sati is different from moment without sati?
Yes.
Yes, but it's not known in daily life because it's not strong enough.
Right.
But there can be the understanding of sati when it is satipatthana, see. It just arises and be aware directly of the object. See, by conditions, anatta, not by wishes.
Yes.
It's already there. So the understanding of whatever we're talking about, no matter seeing the Dhamma or the dosa, or whatever is there in life, concentration, can be gradually be aware of by sati at level of satipatthana. Because it's not just the moment when the good deeds has been done, because sati just not forget to have such kusala in daily life, but it's more than that. So satipatthana has to arise with right understanding, higher level, the second round of the Four Noble Truth. Because understanding what sati is, what panya is, what concentration is. So in a day, to be true to the truth, what are there? Sometimes viriya, not known. See, try so hard to do something, and the concentration is there too, and other reality can arise from time to time, but unknown, because they arise and fall away in split seconds. After hearing, considering about the truth of each reality, firm enough, unexpectedly, the moment of awareness of a reality is there. But right understanding is so very weak in the very beginning, because it just heard about the truth of the reality right then, but the truth does not appear yet. Only sati begin to be aware of one reality at a time, particular object, only one. That's why sati is there, and panya develops. Without sati, panya cannot develop at all. That's why it is only satipatthana, not vitakka pasana, not passapatthana or anything else at all, even not panyapatthana, because it's the beginning for sati to develop, to understand what is there gradually, little by little. And when it's strong enough as daily life, the moment when ekakata or samadhi is there appearing, it cannot known before at all, but after develop right understanding enough, it is not anyone. It's the characteristic of concentration, samadhi, with panya of each level. Because at that moment, when an object appears to the panya which experiences it clearly, ekakata of samadhi is there too, because it just concentrates on one object only. See, that's why what can be known in daily life as I or something tend to be what is there is a reality which shows up and then gone.
Yes, thank you.
So right understanding is more little by little,
Yes.
knowingly, unknowingly right now, until the satipatthana arises, the second round of
Yeah.
Arya Satta begin.
Yes.
So we heard each moment is so very precious, because one day, no matter how long, it will condition moment of realizing the truth of what we are talking about. With patience as parami, so great, viriya parami, nekama parami, or parami. So without parami, there can never be the realization of what is there now as it is.
Yes.
So is this moment parami?
Probably, maybe some there, but not at the level of.
Parami is the level of realization.
Yeah, not at the level of
development. It's a development of
yes,
all kinds of kusala.
yes, yes,
You just let go of the ignorance and akusala moment.
Yes, lots of those.
Like Kim Hong, I'm just wondering if you've got anything you would like, because I know you've been listening carefully for the whole session. Anything you would like to ask about or would like Jan to clarify today?
Yeah, I'm interested in sati and satipatthana. Is as I understand, sati is the only Jessica that accompany in the wholesome chitta, but I not really understand that the satipatthana is a level of direct understanding.
Satipatthana refers to the right awareness of reality with right understanding. So there cannot be awareness of reality without understanding. So it's awareness and understanding. In the text we read about sati sampajanya. Sampajanya is panya cetasika. So right understanding and right awareness together, experiencing the object, the reality, always a reality that is the object of satipatthana, reaching the object to be understood and the object of awareness.
Yeah, when we awareness of some object that we can call is satipatthana, right?
There are different levels of awareness, different levels of understanding. Like now, we may talk about what is seen, visible object. And there's a little intellectual right understanding about how it's not anyone, it's just visible object that's seen. This is not satipatthana when it's just the intellectual understanding and awareness of the reality, but it's the beginning. It's the pariyatti understanding that has to develop to become the direct understanding. Patipatti understanding is satipatthana. So satipatthana is the direct understanding, the understanding which understands the object well with awareness of that reality. So it's a gradual development. So often people talk about satipatthana all the time, but they don't appreciate that it has to be understanding and awareness, experiencing the object well, not just considering intellectually, and definitely not the idea people have when they go to a meditation center and focus on an object and call it satipatthana. This is not satipatthana. So this is why there has to be, as
so
this is why
satipatthana
there has to be a lot of considering.
Satipatthana that you mentioned is patipatti, right?
Yes, exactly. Patipatti. So without pariyatti, without the firm intellectual understanding, there cannot be satipatthana or patipatti. And it is the development of satipatthana that leads to the development of vipassana jnanas and enlightenment. So there has to be development of satipatthana in the first place, conditioned by the pariyatti, the firm intellectual right understanding.
So first we have to be pariyat, that means intellectual understanding. And then
Yes.
we get to the second round. So satipatthana will be all right at
Exactly. Exactly right, the second round. Today, many people think they would like to start with the second round, patipatti. They all talk about right practice. And then they say, well, later I'll look at the details and discuss intellectually, but this is all wrong without the firm foundation on what is true, what is Dhamma, what is seeing anatta, then there cannot be any development of satipatthana. So there has to be the pariyatti understanding first. And this is the point of discussing, considering, reflecting, not to learn terms and details, but to reflect on the truth now, the realities now as anatta. So the understanding develops on stronger and stronger in order to directly understand the realities we've discussed.
Yeah, I got it a little bit, but I still more doubts about that. Ajahn said that Satipatthans not conventional is the object, but only Paramat only can be the object of
Paramatta
Satipatthana.
Dhamma, exactly, yes, because thinking about the chair, the table, cannot even be pariyatti understanding. So even pariyatti understanding is understanding about realities, sound, visible object that's experienced, seeing, hearing, but it's the thinking about the concept of those realities when it is satipatthana, it is direct understanding of the reality by way of nimitta, always by way of nimitta.
But the first level that we can start by nimittas, right?
So whatever is experienced is known by way of nimitta. So even the first level, talking about visible object now, it's the intellectual understanding of visible object, not the direct understanding of visible object. But still, it is the wise considering about the characteristic of visible object, the nimitta of that reality. So the object is exactly the same no matter what level of understanding, but it develops until it is direct understanding, understanding that understands the object well, and then on until it's really clear at moments of vipassana jnana. But it all begins with the right considering about dhammas now, each one anatta. And that's why we emphasized at the beginning, no one that can do, no one that can experience, just dhammas arising and falling away by conditions. So this understanding has to be very firm intellectually. This is what we call satchanyana in order to condition direct understanding, kichanyana, and so on. Different terms, but just referring to the development of understanding. And we've just got a few minutes left, so I'll let Ajahn continue on.
Thanks, Sarah.
What is there now? Is there anything? What
Thinking.
is that? Thinking?
Yeah.
Is it real?
Yeah.
Is it you?
No.
So what is it?
Is it Dhamma?
What kind of Dhamma?
Nama Dhamma.
What do you mean by Nama Dhamma?
That realized by mindfulness.
The meaning. Is it real Nama Dhamma? Is it real? Is Nama Dhamma real?
No, only correct the characteristic of what that Sarah said only.
Real or not?
Nama is real, but what I get is not touching, but the real, only conventional only.
Is understanding a reality? Just
Yes.
say everything is Dhamma, it has its characteristic. Is it right understanding or just memorying about the terms?
just remembering only.
Is memory real?
Yes, real.
What kind of reality is it?
Only khana sanya.
What kind of reality is kanasanya?
Unwholesome.
Sanya. What kind of reality? Is sanya real?
Sanya is real.
What kind of reality is it?
Sanya only the mind factor only.
If it's a reality, Kim Hong, is it a Cetasika, or a Rupa? Ajahn would like to know. Is it a Nama
Yes.
or a Rupa?
Cetasika only. Sanya is Cetasika.
So it's a Cetasika, a Nama Dhamma, which experiences an object. And when does Sanya arise? So it arises at every moment. Sanya arises at every moment with every citta. I think we can continue this discussion and